Hi guys, welcome to another audio video, and I'll be reading Acts 14 of the King James Version Bible. And it reads, "And it came to pass in Iconium that they went both together into that synagogue of the Jews, and so spake, that a great multitude both of the Jews and also of the Gentiles believed. But the unbelieving Jews stirred up the Gentiles, and made their minds evil affected against the brethren. A long time but therefore abode they, speaking boldly in the Lord, which gave testimony unto the words of his grace, and granted signs and wonders to be done by their hands. But the multitude of the city was divided, and part held with the Jews, and part with the apostles. And when there was an assault made both of the Gentiles and also of the Jews with their rulers, to use them despitefully, and to stone them, they were aware of it, and fled unto Lystra and Derbe, cities of Lycaonia, and unto the region that lieth round about. And there they preached the gospel. And there sat a certain man at Lystra, impotent in his feet, being a cripple from his mother's womb, who never had walked. The same heard Paul speak, who steadfastly beholding him, and perceiving that he had faith to be healed, said with a loud voice, Stand upright on thy feet. And he leaped and walked. And when the people saw that Paul had done what Paul had done, they lifted up their voices, saying in the speech of Lycaonia, The gods are come down to us in the likeness of men. And they called Barnabas Jupiter, and Paul Mercurius, because he was chief speaker. Then the priest of Jupiter, which was before their city, brought oxen and garlands unto the gates, and would have done sacrifice with the people, which, when the apostles Barnabas and Paul heard of, they rent their clothes, and ran in among the people, crying out, and saying, Sirs, why do ye these things? We also are men of like passions with you, and preach unto you that ye should turn from these vanities unto the living God, which made heaven and earth, and the sea, and all things that are therein, who in times past suffered all nations to walk in their own ways. Nevertheless, he left not himself without witness, in that he did good, and gave us rain from heaven and fruitful seasons, filling our hearts with food and gladness. And with these sayings scarce restrained they the people, that they had not done sacrifice unto them. And there came thither certain Jews from Antioch and Iconium, who persuaded the people, and having stoned Paul, drew him out of the city, supposing he had been dead. Howbeit, as the disciples stood round about him, he rose up and came into the city, and the next day he departed with Barnabas to Derbe. And when they had preached the gospel to that city, and had taught many, they returned again to Lystra, and to Iconium, and Antioch, confirming the souls of the disciples, and exhorting them to continue in the faith, and that we must through much tribulation enter into the kingdom of God. And when they had ordained them elders in every church, and had prayed with fasting, they commended them to the Lord, on whom they believed. And after they had passed through Pisidia, they came to Pamphylia, and when they had preached the word in Perga, they went down into Attalia, and thence sailed to Antioch, from whence they had been recommended to the faith, to the grace of God, for the work which they fulfilled. And when they were come and had gathered the church together, they rehearsed all that God had done with them, and how he had opened the door of faith unto the Gentiles, and there they abode long time with the disciples. Alright guys, so in this chapter we see that after the Jews, they expelled Barnabas and Paul from within their city, they had actually spread their work to other regions, because when they were trying to persuade the people of Lystra, and they proved God among the people of Lystra, and the people started to believe in them, even though they were obviously worshippers of false gods and in false doctrines. They received the word and they wanted to believe in the word, but they were ignorant to the fact that it was not God's, and they need not make any sacrifice when they saw these works. And so Paul and Barnabas had to make it clear to them that they are men and they need not make any sacrifices unto them. All sacrifices are to be made to God, and that's not human sacrifices as they were planning to do, but the sacrifices of praise and worship, right? And so we see that the Jews came into play here and intervened with the work that God was doing among these people and hindering the work of God within these people when they came forth and did their bidding. And that goes to show that you'll always have people who will try to stop you from gaining your salvation, and it is for you to be determined to serve God regardless of whatever noise there is, noise being any interference from outside, right? Any interference within your environment, because the devil will come in to try and actually dissuade you and steer you on the wrong path and hinder your growth, your spiritual growth, hinder your salvation. It's for you to be determined to stay with God and stay on the right path. So I encourage you today to stay on the right path. Stay within the will of God. Right? Guys, please remember to continue to walk in your salvation. And if you've not yet gained it, then seek it. There's no better time to begin than the present. Have yourselves a blessed day. Bye.